What if you could wind back the clock and just do over the last few years, but this time without any of the baggage or any of the pain holding you back? Would you be better or would you be worse off? Duel has pretty interesting answers to that question, and that's what makes it unique. Duel is a sci-fi black comedy starring Karen Gillan, Aaron Paul, and it was directed by Riley Stearns. Now, some of you might be wondering what's the difference between a black comedy and a dark comedy. Well, I'm going to answer that question, so stick around for a while. Riley Stearns might not be a name that everybody's familiar with, but he does have a bit of a habit of coming up with interesting projects that challenge viewers in unique, unexpected ways, and Duel does that as well. Duel follows Sarah, I'm not entirely sure of her age, but a 20 something, 30 something person who's basically down on her life. But that begins to change when she gets diagnosed with this unexpectedly, inexplicably rare disease. And the doctor, in no certain words, tells her that she has no hope of recovering, so she might as well get her affairs together. But the world of Duel is not the one that we live in. In the world that this movie has created, when people are dying, they can go to a company and commission a clone. Now, unlike other movies, this clone will not have any of your memories. They will just look like you. And the original and the clone spend some time together before the original dies so that the clone can learn everything about the original's life.
I'm sure you're familiar with the process. When you know you're going to die, you can have yourself cloned.
You have very clean skin. I like your shirt.
And this is done so that the people you leave behind never have to miss you. So Sarah finds a way to do it, makes up a clone, and spends some time living with her, teaching her about her life. But then
Life has thrown you a curveball. You're not dying anymore.
this is where the problems start. Because now there are two Sarahs running around, two people trying to live the same life. Well, in this world, the government also has an answer for situations like that. When this happens, the original and the clone get a year to prepare, and then they fight in a battle to the death, which has a live audience and is broadcast on live television just like any other sport. And at the end of it, only one person gets to live on. So now, OG Sarah and clone Sarah have a year to prepare for the fight of their lives. This is a really interesting concept by itself, right? But what makes Duel really special is the fact that this is really a coming of age story, except the coming of age comes from two different directions when it comes to the OG and the clone Sarah. OG Sarah has all of the baggage, has all of the pain. She needs to learn what it means to be alive again. Clone Sarah doesn't have any of the baggage, doesn't have any of the pain. She just wants to live. OG Sarah goes to a trainer named Trent, played by Aaron Paul, and he basically teaches her how to fight. Now, this is where I'm going to stop when it comes to plot elements, because one of the things that I enjoyed most about Duel is that I never knew where it was going. When I would expect it to take a right, it would just take the next exit and go to the nearest town. That's how unexpected the plot was. Instead, I want to talk about a couple of the elements of this movie that will really stand out even when you're watching it. First of all, it's a shame that this movie did not get a larger platform or a larger release or even a larger audience, because this is without a doubt Karen Gillan's finest performance. We know how good she can be because we've seen her in the Guardians of the Galaxies movies, the Avengers movies, in the Jumanji franchise, but this is something different. Not only is she playing two versions of the same character, but nailing the aspects of black comedy without it making seem ridiculous or just dumb is harder than it seems.
I really value your friendship. I'll miss that when you die. Speaking of which, any updates?
Black comedy and dark comedy have very subtle differences. They're so subtle, as a matter of fact, that they're often used interchangeably. When we're talking about black comedy, it deals with serious subject matter, but it doesn't just poke fun at the subject matter, it satirizes it, but never loses sight of how serious all of this is. That's the pocket in which Duel operates. Whereas a dark comedy basically highlights how absurd or ridiculous the entire situation is. Duel never loses sight of the fact that Sarah is basically prepping for a fight to the death, and odds are she might not survive. But it manages to find humor in these unexpected, strange, weird situations that just always keep you on your toes. And that wouldn't work if Karen Gillan wasn't on her A game. Aaron Paul isn't in it as much as I would have maybe liked him to have been, being a huge fan of Breaking Bad. But when he is an absolute scene stealer, and he works off Karen Gillan's character Sarah really, really well. As with all of the movies I have recommended and I will recommend, go into it with an open mind. It's an unexpected almost eccentric way of approaching this subject matter, and that's what makes it stand apart. And if you just allow yourself to enjoy it for what it is, you will gain a new appreciation and a new understanding of what it means to be alive.
This is my life. She's not going to take it from me.
My name is Akshay, and this is Funky Movie Reviews, where I talk about relatively unknown movies, whether it's an indie, a movie that never made it to a larger market, or a foreign language film that more people need to see. I will watch it and I will talk about it. So if you want your taste in movies to be just a little funky, like, comment, share, subscribe.